commemoration. She was born 6 November 1978. Ironically, she was 4 days early for the Marine Corps birthday and 5 days for Veterans Day. November happens to be a very busy month for veterans and Marines. We're going to start the program off with the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag, and we will direct the color guard to present arms.
Color guard, attend, put, carry, colors. Ready, cut, present, colors.
Present arms. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carry, colors. Ready, cut.
Order arms. I'm introducing Sandy Martin, who is going to sing the national anthem.
Present, colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed from the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Colors. Ready, cut. Order. Colors. Ready,
Our chaplain,
cut.
Dean Peterson,
Cut. Hurry. Rest.
will give the invocation.
Before I invite you to prayer, I'd like to make this reflection. Today we changed the clock. Some say we gained an hour. We all know that's not the truth, because time is not a commodity. It's a gift. And there was a time when Jennifer played in this neighborhood. There was a time where she went to the schools in Swampscott, graduated from Swampscott High. There was a time when she was a part of St. John's, the parish. There was a time when she entered the Naval Academy in Annapolis as a plebe and graduated and selected the Marine Corps option. There was a time when she went to flight school, learned how to fly a helicopter. There was a time when she joined and received orders for the Purple Foxes. There was a time when her helicopter was hit by hostile fire and it went into the death spiral and she died. and time stood still for Ray and Rosalie as the United States Marine Corps Casualty Assistance Team broke the news that their daughter had died. But there was a time when this neighborhood refused to let death have the last word. So there is a time today where we celebrate her birthday. There is a time where we celebrate the attributes of her life, of honor, courage, and compassion. These gifts that she has given to us on this day, we are invited to extend that legacy into the conversations that we have and the community that we are a part of. Time is not a commodity to be sold or bought. It is to be shared because it's priceless. And Jennifer is priceless to all of us. Let's pray. Thank you, O God, for Jennifer, for the contribution that she made in this community as a little girl, in high school, at Annapolis, in the Marine Corps, and then in the return back here with her legacy. We give you thanks for her. We give you thanks for this neighborhood. And pray that this neighborhood will become those that extend this legacy now and forever. Receive our thanks. In your great name we pray. Amen.
I now introduce Karen Hudson Lounsbury, accompanied by members of the Women's Marine Association. And accompanying her will be active duty Captain Soros to present the wreath. Sandy Martin is a professional musician. She's a Navy vet. She's a cancer survivor. And Mason Darren is a composer for Hollywood films and television. They've volunteered to write a song in honor of Jennifer. They're going to perform it here right now.
She was a woman warrior. She sacrificed it all, an honor and a duty. She heeded every call. There's no turning back. There's no turning back. When you answer the call, she was a woman warrior. She fought in foreign skies, raised upon our northern shore. She made the sacrifice. There's no turning back. There's no turning back. When you answer the call, what was she thinking when she flew that day? Did she know they would ask for her all? But she knew She was a woman warrior. She sacrificed it all, an honor and a duty. She heeded every call. There's no turning back. There's no turning back. When you answer the call, there's no turning back. There's no turning back. When we answer the call.
Thank you so much. I am now introducing Bob Cipriani, Marine Corps League, Detachment 1302. He's our judge advocate, and he's going to speak about the MCL.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Alex said, my name is Bob Cipriani. I am representing the local detachment 1302 of the Marine Corps League. Alex asked me to give you a little background of who we are and what we do. Our detachment is one of 26 in the state that are part of the Marine Corps League. The Marine Corps League is a national association with over 60,000 members. Our detachment got its charter a little over 10 years ago, and we probably have about 70 members right now, most of which are Marine Corps veterans, and we also have 20 of those are associate members, which means they could have been members of other services and join us to participate in what we do. One of the unique things about our detachment is that we have a riding platoon, which is a motorcycle riding platoon, and some of our members are standing right over here to my right. And we did that because it was a way to put a public face to what we do in terms of supporting Marine Corps things, veterans services, and raise some public awareness of what we do. And it allowed us to build a pretty good sized detachment. We collectively as a group support other organizations that are like-minded, in other words, providing support to veterans, past, present, and future ones too. And we're involved in a lot of the local activities, and one of our most proudest association, standing right over there, is the Marine Corps Junior ROTC at Salem High School. And through our association with them, we're very proud to see these young folks do great things, both in their own school, in representing the Junior ROTC in competitions, and it's a great association to have, whether it's a car wash or a physical fitness competition. They're always number one out there. We also are, as some of our members participate in both the state and the national scene too. We have several members of right now that are, 7 of them as a matter of fact, that are either state or New England or national officers of the Marine Corps League. Probably the most singular thing that we're proud of is our association and the memorials and the things that we do to make sure that we do never forget Jennifer Harris. That's one of our signature things. We run an annual motorcycle ride, usually in August, and we give out scholarships in her name. And currently, most recently in the past August, we gave out 5 $1,000 scholarships. We've been doing this for 11 years now, and there are a number of young folks, some of them out of college now, that have received that modest donation that we give them towards their education. And one of our more recent members actually is at Annapolis right now, so we're most proud of him. And we're betting he's going to take the Marine Corps option too for some reason or other. We think he might, or else. But that's a little background of the honorable few. We're proud to be here, and we thank you for joining us.
My next speaker is Sergeant Major Jamie DePaula. I never met her personally until today, but we talked on the phone, we texted. Jamie is the regional head of Women Marines Association covering New York and all of New England. She has, well, I asked her for a biography, and I have it here in front of me. And she said, Alex, you don't have to, read the whole thing. I have to read the whole thing. Jamie DePaula served in the Marines from 1975 to 1999 as both active duty and reserve. Her unit assignments consisted of Headquarters Women Recruit Training Battalion in Paris Island. That is a really hard one. Anybody's been through there knows what it's like. When then she went to Headquarters Marine Corps in Washington, D.C. When she joined the reserves after active duty, her first unit was 4th Force Recon Company in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. The next 12 years, she rotated into different infantry reserve units as her family moved from various states, eventually landing her in Connecticut, where she joined the 25th Marine Regiment. Jamie deployed with the 25th during Desert Storm as Regimental S1 Chief. That is the infantry. After her promotion to First Sergeant, she was transferred to Marine Logistics Group, where she was assigned to 6th Motor Transport Battalion in Providence, Rhode Island. Following that tour, she was transferred to the battalion headquarters for the 6th Motor in Red Bank, New Jersey, and became the Battalion Sergeant Major. There are not too many women sergeant majors in the Marine Corps. After retirement, she worked as director of admissions for St. Bernard High School. She also volunteered for the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation's New York Leatherneck Ball and was later elected as one of its vice presidents. Her other memberships include the Marine Corps League, the American Legion, and currently the Area 1 Director for the Women's Marine Association, which encompasses all of New York State and New England. Jamie has started up 6 new chapters in her area, with 3 being named after fallen sister Marines. All those Marines were from New England, I believe. One of the missions she focuses on with her Marines is to be supportive of the challenges of female Marine veterans transitioning home from active duty and support the shelters for homeless female veterans. I proudly introduce Jamie DePaula.
Thank you, Alex. It was a long intro, I know, so, but it's a pleasure to be with you today to honor our sister Marine, Captain Jennifer Harris. Thank you, Mr. Harris and Alex, for the kind invitation to participate in this ceremony, and I salute you, Mrs. Lonsberry, for your courage to be with us today, too. It's humbling to be in the presence of so many great people. In just a few days, on November 10th, the Marine Corps will be celebrating 243 years of honor, courage, and commitment for our Corps and our country. This is a time when we remember who we are, where we came from, and why we're here. And we always remember the past, honor those who are no longer with us, and focus on today's battles as we get ready for tomorrow. This year, we also celebrate 100 years of women in the Corps. From World War I to present day, women have answered our nation's call with courage, patriotism, and devotion to duty. In World War I, 300 women volunteered and joined the United States Marine Corps to free a man to fight. All of them were clerk typists. All of them were discharged at the end of the war. And then we had a couple decades of peacetime. World War II comes around. 23,000 women flooded the Marine Corps recruiting offices and once again free a man to fight. Their contract was for the duration of the war plus 6 months. Their billets were much more than just clerk typists. They were also shuttle pilots, mechanics, and supply clerks, and a number of things, but not infantry and not the pilots that you know of today. At the end of the war, all but 1,000 of these women were sent home. Today, about 13,000 women serve in the United States Marine Corps. We've come a long way, and we've evolved from clerk typists to combat warriors. And we have skills as sharp as knives. Just ask the captain here. So these females today make up about 8%, a little over 8% of our Marine Corps strength. We're no longer segregated. We're totally integrated. The thing that I've learned over the years from my own personal experience of 24 years is I'm stronger now, both physically, well, maybe not physically anymore, but mentally and emotionally. I was physically stronger, but than when I first came in the Marine Corps. So we gain that heart in here, that makes us strong for life. Many of us are still serving our country, but off the battlefield in the great organizations like the Marine Corps League, the American Legion, the Women Marines Association, VFW, DAV, and many, many, many more. But we have that servant's heart that Marines are taught that servant's heart from day one. So that's kind of where it brought me here with the Women Marines Association, is that servant's heart. When I learned about Jennifer and so, oh my goodness, she's in my area of responsibility, I knew I had to meet Mr. Harris. And I have another Gold Star family in Rhode Island, and I have another Gold Star family in the Bronx. And all three of them, out of only 9 KIA women, are in my area. And I wrote a letter to Mr. Harris. I wasn't quite sure how to reach him, but I Googled it, and I found Mr. Harris. And I reached out to him, and he called me. And then here we are. So a couple weeks ago, we met in Plymouth at a ceremony when I announced that I was going to be starting up a chapter in honor of my sister Marine Jennifer. So to honor Captain Jennifer Harris, we are starting up this chapter in Massachusetts. I'm needing 5 Marines to get it started, but we're going to carry on Jennifer's legacy here, not just in this community, but in Massachusetts. There are a lot of women that are struggling with their transition back home. I think everybody probably struggles with transition back home. My own son did as well, but I think women, we sometimes I use the word cellophane. We feel like cellophane out there in the communities. We're not near any military bases and have other support networks in our military. So we have just the community, but a lot of the society hasn't accepted women as veterans yet. And I say yet because I know this chapter is going to change that. So I know Jennifer would be leading the charge probably on this. If she knew that some of her sister veterans were struggling with their transition back home. For example, when I say, like, Marines like to put decals all over their cars, and we wear, shirts and hats and everything else. I mean, just look around you. And so I'll pull into the post office or the bank or whatever, wearing my Marine Corps ball cap and a shirt and have decals all over my car, and somebody comes up and says, "Tell your husband thanks for his service." I want to change that. So, as Marines, we like to be at the tip of the spear and leading the charge. So the battlefield for us is here now, at home, right here in Massachusetts, and Captain Jennifer Harris's spirit will guide us on this mission. We'll honor her legacy with pride and a clear identity and purpose to continue our service, her service to our country and our Corps. The Commandant, General Neller, said it best: the Corps' legacy lives on in every Marine. So the Marine Corps is a unique family of warriors from past and present. Jennifer was my sister, which makes her Gold Star family my family too. Makes her all of our family. So we'll honor her through our work right here at home. So we're Marines, nobody gets us but us. And one of the things that I like to say is we were once ordinary women, but we chose to do something extraordinary by becoming a United States Marine. So happy birthday, Jennifer, and thank you, everybody. Semper Fi.
In our audience today, we also have a good human being who happens to be the mayor of a great city, Tom McGee. Yes. Would you please come up, Tom?
Tough to follow those great words from a woman Marine. My dad was a World War II Marine on Iwo Jima, so I know the growing up. Once a Marine, always a Marine. I'm just honored to be here in respect for the Harris family and for a real hero, Jennifer Harris. And I didn't expect to speak, but I just wanted to be here to support Ray, and I try and come every year to make sure that Jennifer, her memory continues not over, and I'm really glad to hear, not only here in the community, but her legacy and her leadership and her commitment and sacrifice is something that this town really reflects on and understands. But more importantly, I think it's great to see that her name is going to be carried on throughout Massachusetts. So again, I'm honored to be here, and thank you for asking me to speak, Ray, and you're a great friend, and I'm just glad to be here with you today. Thank you.
We have another politician. But more importantly, he is a really terrific human being. And I'll introduce you to the Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Charlie Baker.
Good afternoon. Let me just start by thanking you all for being here, because I think one of the things that's critically important when it comes to men and women in uniform is that we never forget. And this opportunity that we have annually to gather, remember Jennifer and who she was and what she meant, and by extension Rosalie and Ray, is really important. And I think about this a lot this time of year because there's an election on Tuesday. The only reason we have elections, the only reason we have the freedom to choose our leaders, because of men and women in uniform who put it all out there for everybody else. Think about that. We get to live our lives in this free society, warts and all, as messy and as confusing and as cantankerous as it can be, because some of us chose to enter a field of combat and put it all out there for everybody. Now, the worst thing I have to do in this job, and thankfully I've only had to do it a few times, is to meet a family at the airport when they welcome home the casket of their loved one. Now, Lauren and I, when we do that, we meet the family and we say some version of the same thing, which is, I so hate that I'm here, but if there's anything we can do for you, I hope you let us know. And without exception, we get the same response every time, which is in the midst of the grief, which must be unimaginable. Those moms and dads and brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts and sometimes sons and daughters thank us for being there, for remembering and taking time out to recognize the sacrifice and the terrible loss that that family has just incurred. They thank us for being there every time. You know, sometimes I worry that we don't appreciate just how big a deal it is that some of the truly best and brightest among us choose to sign up and serve this country and have moms and dads and brothers and sisters and husbands and wives who give them permission to do so, knowing what that could all mean. But having spent a lot of time with a lot of those families and had them tell me and my wife Lauren the stories of their family members, not just the military stories, but the rest of it. Where they grew up, where they went to school, what sports they played, what kind of kid they were. You truly grow to appreciate how awesome and special these people truly are. Now, everybody here, for the most part, probably knows Jennifer's story. This kid could have been anything. Anything. She was a spectacular student. She volunteered at the hospital. Everybody admired and loved her. Anything. And what she chose to do is go to the Naval Academy, become one of the first Marine female pilots, helicopter pilots. And she didn't need to take that last flight either. It was literally the last flight. And a bunch of people said, you know, you don't have to take that, we'll take it. She said, no, it's what I do. It's my job. People who wear the uniform in this country, who volunteer to serve, they come from great families. Strong families. Patriots. And they honor us with the work they do, the sacrifices they make, and the freedom that they preserve. And I would hope all of you, if you vote on Tuesday, that every time you vote, you think of people like Jennifer, people like Ray, and the families that give this country the glory, the democracy, and the freedom that we hold dear and sometimes our worry we take for granted. But that's why Lauren and I are here. Because as people who engage in this crazy thing called public service, we really appreciate and are enormously grateful to the folks who choose to serve and the families that support them. God bless them all. Thank you.
I don't know about anybody else, but would you like to hear that song again, please? One more time. Thank you.
She was a woman warrior. She sacrificed it all, an honor and a duty. She heeded every call. There's no turning back. There's no turning back. When you answer the call, she was a woman warrior. She fought in foreign skies, raised upon our northern shore. She made the sacrifice. There's no turning back. There's no turning back. When you answer the call, what was she thinking when she flew that day? Did she know they would ask for her all? But she knew she would answer the call. We all knew she would answer the call. She was a woman warrior. She sacrificed it all, an honor and a duty. She heeded every call. There's no turning back. There's no turning back. When you answer the call, well, there's no turning back. There's no turning back. When we answer the call.
Thank you so much. I mean, I don't think there's anything that could be more expressive and such a gift to this day. I want to mention a couple of unsung heroes here, and that's St. Anthony and St. Linda. Please stand up. Anthony and Linda are Jennifer's aunt and uncle. As you all know, Rosalie was in a wheelchair for over 30 years. She was strong-willed as well. But if it wasn't for her husband, Ray, who took as much care as he could with her, wheeling her around to BJ's, Costco. If it wasn't for Anthony and Linda to take up the slack, and help out with this family. I remember Anthony telling me a story about how fearless Jennifer was. He would take her out in a skiff fishing, and she didn't have any problem with being out there in the deep water fishing with him. Am I right? They contributed so much to the family, along with the grandmother and grandfather, and Ray's family as well. But they were the ones that were close by. They were the ones that picked up the slack, and that's what great families do. And I salute you. I'm glad to know you, and I'm glad to be part of your family. As I said, Sandy Martin was, she just finished her last chemo treatment two months ago. And when I asked her to do this, she said, "Sure, Alex." Her partner is here as well, Dr. Carol Naranjo. They're very good friends of mine. They're part of the LGBTQ community. I just thank you so much. Mason Daring, I've known so much about you. First time I met you, we have mutual friends. I'm so happy that you contributed this for this day. Captain Soros, Godspeed to you. Captain Soros is an active duty Marine recruiter. She's out of Rhode Island. Thank you for coming. Thank you all for coming. I see a chief of police. I see the first responders here from Swampscott. Anytime Ray picks up the phone, I need this, I need that, they're there for him. This is a wonderful community, and I'm happy to contribute whatever I can. Have I missed anybody? We're good to go? Well, Karen Lonsbury also, she's a Gold Star mother, but she doesn't stop there. She's the president of the Gold Star families in Massachusetts, and she does an awful lot of tireless work helping. Thank you, Karen. We can retire the colors now. We'll have a closing prayer, Chaplain, if that's possible.
Hugger, Ute, Hut, Hugger, Bow.
Go with the chap.
Present. Up. Order. Up. We'll have a closing prayer.
Benediction translates in Latin as a good word. This word comes from the Irish community. It's hundreds of years old. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun be warmly upon your face. And may the rains fall gently on your fields. And while we are absent one from another, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Amen.
Jennifer, if you can hear us on the count of three, we do 3 hurrahs. 1, 2, 3.
Hoorah! Hoorah! Hoorah!
Thank you, everybody.